Prabhuji just put a message, computer issues, so I'm sure he's joining in a minute.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes, Mary Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam, accept our obeisances.
Sorry, some problems with the computer. Hare Krishna, thank you so much for joining us on this auspicious evening. Karthik, last week of Karthik, Bhishma Panchak. So very auspicious in many ways. Happy to have association of so many sincere devotees. So we'll start with the Mangalacharan, and after that, I believe we have the group presentation, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Ukam Kruti Vachanam Pungam Langate Kirivyat Kripatama Vande Shri Guru Dinataram Paramanandam Madhukam Namam Vishwadaya Krishna Vishna Bhutala Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunapati Paschati Shakati. Hare Krishna, over to you, Rupraganath Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. So today we have group presentations on chapter 11, and we are going to start with group number 6. So group 6, whenever you are ready, please start. And I will also start the timer in the meantime.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Not yet, Mataji.
No. This is sharing. I don't know how.
It's coming up now. Just stay there. Yeah. Why does Arjuna request? Yes.
Okay. Okay. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Why does Arjun request to see the universal form is the question. Arjun starts out saying with this chapter that by hearing the confidential spiritual knowledge, his illusion is dispelled. So, Tvayoktam Vachastena Moho Yam Vigato Mama. So, and then he says to Krishna, I wish to see how you have entered the cosmic manifestation. Dashtum Ichhami Te Rupam Aishwaram Purushottama. So, the Arjuna's position here is that he's very enlightened. Arjun acknowledges that all this is happening to him by Krishna's grace. He has fully understood the opulences of Krishna and is fully convinced of Krishna's divinity. He is thinking that although he may accept Krishna as the source of everything, others may not. And he's convinced that Krishna is the cause of all causes and is present in everyone's heart as the super soul. Krishna has assured him in the previous chapter, Aham Krishnasya Jagata Prabhava Pralayas I am the source of the appearance and disappearance of this entire material manifestation. He entered into the material universe by his personal representation. The cosmic manifestation has been made possible and is going on. His personality is not lost, although he is all pervading. This is the inconceivable opulence of Krishna, which Arjun admits that he has thoroughly understood. Arjun is inspired by the statements of Krishna, but in order to convince others in the future who may think that Krishna is an ordinary person, Arjun then desires to see him in his universal form and requests him, O lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity as realized through your inexhaustible glories. So to possibly see how he's acting from within universe, although he's apart from it. Arjun's addressing the Lord as Purushottam and Parameshwar is also very significant. Since the Lord is the supreme personality of Godhead, he is present within Arjuna himself. He knows the desires of Arjuna and he can understand that Arjun has no special desire to see him in his universal form, but for Arjun is completely satisfied to see him in his personal form as Krishna. In the future, people could understand that Krishna not only theoretically or philosophically presented himself as a supreme, but presented himself as such to Arjun. Because Arjun represents ordinary people, Lord can understand also that Arjun wants to see the universal form to convince others. Mahaprabhu had also shared his universal form to a few intimate and chosen people. Arjun asks about his qualification and then puts his request. He glorifies Krishna, says Yogeshwara, master of all the mystic powers, to grant him the special power to see. One can see Krishna with Krishna's grace and Krishna's mercy. So, finally, to summarize, Arjun had curiosity and affection, Vishwabhav, to see the Vishwarup, and he wanted to know more. He wanted to convince others since he's always a friend related to Krishna. People can think that he could be biased, so he wants to convince others. Also, to set a standard for establishing the truth. And in Kali Yuga, there are hundreds and thousands of gurus and people who pose themselves as fake gods and gurus. So that concludes my presentation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Very succinct and comprehensive. Good job.
Prabhuji, is it okay to ask a question on the presentation?
Yes, Prabhu, sure.
Yeah. Mataji, thank you for the wonderful presentation. So, as you explained, Arjuna asked Krishna to show his universal form so that in future it's kind of secured, and anybody who claims to be God has to go through this litmus test. So, is Arjuna getting this guidance from Krishna only to ask these questions, or this is his own thoughts? Because I'm thinking he's in the middle of a battlefield. He was so confused to begin with whether I should fight or not. And he's going through a series of emotions. So this emotion of him asking this question with this rational, is it Krishna guiding him or is it his own thought process?
I'm going to speak from my own understanding and maybe not, genuine from the Goswamis or from Bharari Prabhu. But I think that Arjun was convinced that Krishna is divinity, and he, he's at this point he's heard a lot from Krishna. So I think that he wants to, convince himself. Like sometimes you want to see what you believe, and so he asks Krishna to give him his insight or the eyes to see that, to see, I don't know 100% that he's trying to convince everybody else, but I think that sometimes we want to know more about someone we love. Like, we want to see and you want to experience what it is. That's all comes to my mind, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Helpful. I see Jyoti Mataji has a hand raised. So Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Shaldi Mataji had created a PowerPoint along with Kunti Mataji, and she covered some of these points. If you don't mind, I can show her presentation quickly. I won't take very long.
Go ahead.
In there, Shaldi Mataji had covered the point where in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, chapter 9, chapter 10, Bhagwanji has started to reveal his opulences and reveal his truth. And by this time, by the time we have reached chapter 11, Arjun is fully convinced of the divinity of Lord Krishna. He's not questioning or looking for the universal form for his own confirmation. Rather, out of his affection and curiosity, just like if somebody loves someone, they want to know more and more. Like Prabhuji in the last lecture, he talked about when there's a pop star, you want to know what they eat, how they interact, what is their favorite, that sort of thing. So he's asking out of curiosity and affection, plus also like Kunti Mataji said, to show beyond doubt that Krishna is who he is, and to set the standard for the future. And so that there is never any doubt as to who Krishna is, or nobody tries to um, match themselves to Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Okay, if there are no more questions, we can move to the next group, group 5.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So we are group 5. Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Our topic for the day is Krishna's universal form as Vishwarupa. This is from Bhagavad Gita chapter 11, shlok number 9 to 31. So this is a conversation between two friends, one of whom is a devotee called Ram, and the other one is not a devotee called Pawan.
Prabhuji, can you put the screen, the presentation mode?
Okay, is this better?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Hare Krishna, Pawan Prabhu, where are you rushing to? How is everything?
Hi Ram, haven't you heard of this mysterious saint, Leela Avatar Babaji? He says he is Lord Krishna's incarnation. I'm going to just see him. Would you like to come along?
Oh, Krishna, another incarnation has appeared. Where is he displaying his opulences?
Oh, he is giving darshan across the street near the Hanuman temple. It is very difficult to get his darshan as people are flocking in huge numbers. Let us hurry. You are a devotee of Krishna, so you must come along.
Hold on, Pawan. I am a devotee, but not a blind follower. I follow Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. And so I know this incarnation business is not bona fide.
What do you mean?
Let me explain. This incarnation business is not new. It has been going on since ages, and Krishna, foreseeing it, inspired Arjuna to ask him to show his universal form.
Universal form? Now what is that?
Krishna has many forms. He knew that in the future there will be many cheaters. So he displayed his universal form or Vishwarupa to Arjun.
Can you tell me in more detail? I cannot understand.
Sure. Chapter 11 of Bhagavad Gita describes his splendid manifestation by the Lord. You have studied physics. You know to describe a point uniquely, you need to specify the space and time coordinates. For example, if you want to meet a person, you need to specify the place where you shall meet him and the time at which you will meet him. Both these aspects are covered within the universal form. The Vishwarupa encompasses concept of space. The Kala Rupa encompasses the concept of time. Let me briefly describe the Vishwarupa as narrated by Sanjay to Dhritarashtra. Sanjay uses utpreksha to describe something indescribable by comparing with something describable. He compares the effulgence of that form with effulgence that would be created if hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once in the sky.
Wait a minute. You mean Arjuna saw the whole universe from one place? How is that possible?
By Krishna's grace, everything is possible. Although these manifestations are distributed throughout the universe, but Arjun could witness everything from one place. This is because Krishna's universal form encompasses space and time, and so he can violate the concept of space and time being the controller. Therefore, Arjun sitting at one place can see everything in the universe. Others on the battlefield couldn't see the form as Krishna gave vision only to Arjun.
How did Arjuna react to seeing this form?
Arjuna gets bewildered and astonished and starts offering obeisances and praying to the Lord. This is a case of Rasa Samadhi. Arjuna's rasa changes from Vatsalya to Adbhuta, which is wonder. Arjuna can see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, the topmost part of the universe, to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu lying on the Vasuki snake bed, which is the lowest part of the universe. He could see everything from top to bottom and in between sitting in one place. Our effort is not sufficient to see beyond the glaring effulgence. However, by the mercy of the Lord, Arjuna can see the form.
I understand, but maybe Arjuna is imagining.
To address your question, Arjuna says, you are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion. This is taken from chapter 11, Shlok 18. His opinion is not a whimsical opinion. When the Lord bestows mercy on a jiva, then the jiva begins to understand the Lord. Then the opinion expressed by the jiva becomes a fact. It isn't whimsical. Krishna gave celestial eyes to many others to see the form so that people would not think that only Arjuna saw the form and it was his imagination. So if you are still contemplating on visiting this incarnation, please ask him to show you the universal form. He may argue that he can show it, but you don't have the eyes to see it. In that case, ask him to bestow divine eyes upon you like Krishna did with Arjuna.
Now I understand one of the reasons why Krishna showed his universal form to Arjuna. It is to warn us of such cheap impostors who proclaim themselves as incarnations. I have dropped the idea to go there, and I would rather study chapter 11 of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you so much, Ram Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I see Chaitanya Ras Prabhu. You have a question or a comment?
No, Prabhu, just a quick observation. In the presentation, they said Vatsalya Rasa. Was it Vatsalya Rasa or Sakya Rasa, right? Arjuna and Krishna?
I think they were talking about Rasa Sandhi, so it turned from Vatsalya to Sakya. That was in 2:7.
Yes.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
No, I was wondering because I thought it was from Sakya Rasa to the awe and reverence. Am I mistaken? Or?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'll just add. It first was Sakya, then it changes to Vatsalya when he accepts Krishna as the spiritual master in 2.7. And then again it is now changing to Adbhuta.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very good presentation. Technically very, very sound. I think I had just one point of correction made, and maybe that was my mistake in the way I spoke. So when you said that he could see Brahma to Garbhoda Vishnu lying on Vasuki, exactly he could see Vasuki and then beyond that Garbhodaksha Vishnu, because Garbhodaksha Vishnu does not lie on Vasuki, he lies on Anantashesh, different personalities.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for this clarification. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Apologies for that.
Yeah, but technically very, very well researched. Thank you. It was a pleasure to proceed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Over to group 4.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Guru Maharaj. Today our topic is Kala Rupa. Describe Krishna's universal form as Kala Rupa. Krishna reveals his universal form, Visvarupa, to Arjuna. One Arjuna's vision has been purified by the darshan of Visvarupa. Krishna reveals his more confidential form of his, which is the Kala Rupa, or the form of the time, symbolizing Krishna as the all-devouring force of time and destruction. This Kala Rupa form is with blazing fire coming forth from the mouth, burning this entire universe by Krishna's own radiance, by seeing with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, many terrible teeth, and devouring all people from all sides with the flaming mouths. Arjuna is disturbed, seeing Krishnas with many radiant colors touching the sky. wide open mouths, and great glowing eyes. Arjuna's mind is perturbed by fear. He can no longer maintain his steadiness of mind. Arjuna cannot keep his balance, seeing thus the blazing death-like faces and awful teeth of Kalarupa, form of Krishna. His form is so vast and that it encompasses all direction, leaving Arjuna overwhelmed and bewildered. Kalarupa is seeing the past, present, and future at the same time, which is a difficulty to the mind to observe. As Kalarupa, or form of the time, Krishna reveals himself as the force of time and destruction, emphasizing his power over life, death, and the cycles of creation and dissolution. Arjuna, who had asked to see Krishna's ultimate divine nature, is overwhelmed by this terrifying vision. As Kalarupa, Krishna reveals himself as time personified. This vision radiates with the light of 8,000 suns, a brightness too intense for Arjuna's eyes. Krishna's form embodies divine power in its full magnitude, both beautiful and terrifying.
Arjuna sees all the sons of Dhritarashtra, all the kings, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, all the soldiers, including those on both sides of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, are rushing into the fearful mouths of this Kala Rupa form, and some trapped with heads smashed between the teeth. This terrifying vision symbolizes the inescapable power of time, which consumes all lives and events. Arjuna uses two analogies here, the rivers and the moths. As the river are helplessly driven into the ocean without any choice, the non-devotees are sucked into the death. As the moths who fly into the fire on their own accord, the people who understand Krishna, they approach the death with the understanding that it is the form of a Krishna. Krishna's form, as Kalarupa emphasizes, the nature of destiny and the duty Arjuna must fulfill. Through his revelation, Krishna reminds Arjuna that the outcome of the war is already determined. The warriors of the battlefield are destined to perish, and Arjuna is merely an instrument is fulfilling this destiny. By seeing this so ferocious form, Arjuna asks Krishna, please tell me who are you and what is your mission? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. The Kalarupa vision teaches that time is an inescapable force that spares no one. The Kalarupa serves as a profound reminder of Krishna's supreme power over life and death and the transient nature of worldly existence. This vision leads Arjuna to surrender fully to Krishna, realizing that Krishna is the ultimate reality, time, and supreme force guiding all creation and destruction. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. I like your graphics. I think they're quite scary. I think you get a sense of what Arjun was seeing at the battlefield, and also I like the crispness of your presentation. Well done. Shri Padma, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, I just have one question. So, the group that just presented said when Arjuna saw the universal form, then he completely surrendered, because he saw the universal form. But didn't he surrender before completely, or now he's surrendering completely?
It's a good question. There's a difference in the mood of surrender. So if you remember at the beginning of the 11th chapter, so there are several times we see Arjun surrender. When Arjun hears the Chaturshloki in the 10th chapter, then he surrenders. When Krishna speaks about his opulences in the remaining part of the 10th chapter, then he surrenders in the beginning of the 11th chapter. So it's a deepening realization from the perspective of Arjun in terms of Krishna's position. And it kind of goes on. It's a theme that will happen more and more. But specifically here, the surrender is really out of fear that Arjuna is seeing a form of Krishna that he had never seen or imagined before. So as we had discussed in the presentation, that Arjun's mood change, and it actually changes twice. So when he sees the Vishwarupa, then his mood is that of astonishment. So it is Adbhut Bhav. And when he sees Krishna's Kal Roop, then his mood changes to that of fear. So ghastliness, actually, extreme fear. And then when he sees Krishna's two-armed form again, then it basically gets reinstated there. So chapter 11 is a little bit of a roller coaster for Arjun in terms of his relationship with Krishna. And that's why we see him repeatedly offering obeisances in different moods to Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Padmini Radha?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. This might be like a naive question, but I was just curious. When Krishna showed his Vishwaroop form, was it exclusively for Arjun, or were the other people on the battlefield able to see it as well?
So the commentaries by Acharya and Srila Prabhupada indicates that the forms were visible to Arjun and no one else on the battlefield, but it was visible to the Devas. So Srila Prabhupada mentions that Krishna bestows divine eyes on the Gandharvas and the Devas and the other divine beings, so that they could also see the form of Krishna and substantiate what Arjun had seen. Because otherwise, Vishwanath Chakravarti mentioned this point, that if Arjun was the only one seeing it, then somebody might say it's a figment of Arjun's imagination. But the fact that it was seen by Sanjay, and if you look at the flow of the chapter, then the first part of the Vishwaroop is actually described by Sanjay. And then the later part of the Vishwaroop is described by Arjun. And then the Kal Roop is described. So because it's something mystical and it is something that is amazing, so Krishna wants to make sure that people don't misconstrue it simply as Arjun's imagination.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Prabhu, I have a small question, Prabhu, here. Prabhuji, so I mean, here mention of the opposite parties, the Arjuna sees all, the opponent parties, Bhishma and Kauravas and everything. Did he see anything like Pandava sides as well in the universal mouth?
He does, because if you look at the verses, in one of the verses, he says that I also see the soldiers on my side being drawn. Now he does not name, on the other side, he says, I see Duryodhan, I see the Sutaputra, so he names some of them.
Yeah.
But he also says that I see soldiers on my side being drawn into the mouth. And then factually speaking, at the end of Mahabharata, only 10 people survived from both the sides. So it was basically a mutually destructive battle. Everybody from the Pandava side was killed, and everybody from the Kaurava side, except for these 10 personalities, everybody was killed.
Prabhuji, what he saw, was this like whatever was happening in the mouth, is it like they were already killed, or was it a preview of what was coming?
So Krishna, when he tries to describe his Kal Roop, so he says that what you saw means that all these people have already been killed by me. All you have to do So nimitta matra. So all you have to do is to become my instrument and actually kill them. So remember, this conversation is happening before the battle begins. The Bhagavad Gita is spoken. So no one has been actually, the battle has not started. Nobody has actually been killed. But in the Vishwarupa, Krishna was showing Arjun all the directions in the universe. And in the Kal Roop, Krishna was showing Arjun the past, present, and the future. So that's where the Acharyas say that because sitting at one place, seeing all space and all time, only Krishna, the master of the mystics, could do that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Parampara Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavar Pranam. So, Prabhuji, on the universal form, on one of the purpose, Srila Prabhupada mentions that because when demigods or the devotees on other planets were able to see the universal form, and he mentions the word devotees, he doesn't mention like demigods or everybody. So, does that mean only the devotees, demigods in those planets were able to see, or what is a blanket statement that everybody? Like Gandharvas, all of them, or all of the Aksas, whether they were devotee or non-devotee, irrespectively, they were able to see the universal form.
So Gandharvas, yes, because they're called out by name, that the Gandharvas could see it. But I think your question is a little bit more general, that were the non-devotees able to see from the other planets there?
Because all the demigods may not be devotees, right? All of them.
Yeah. Not sure, Prabhu, what the exact answer is. One of the purports is mentioned that all the divine personalities had congregated to watch the battle at Kurukshetra, and they were all able to see the universal form. So that distinction, at least over there, is not made, that only the devotees or the non-devotees. More of implied, but I don't have any references for specific answer to your question.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to the next group. Please, group 3.
Are you able to see my screen, Prabhu?
Yes, now yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, we're from group 3. We're presenting on the topic Arjuna's prayers and his request for Krishna to take away the universal form. It's from chapter 11, verses 35 to 46. So first, Arjuna's prayers. Arjuna was struck with wonder, so he started to offer obeisances again and again. He began to pray not as a friend, but as a devotee in wonder. So here is Arjuna's prayers as follows. From verse 36, everything done by Krishna is quite fit and correct, including the Kurukshetra war. His actions are good for all. Krishna is the original creator, even above Brahma. Krishna is the god of all gods. Arjuna addresses Krishna as Mahatma here, most magnanimous and unlimited, and the cause of all causes, transcendental to all material manifestation, and Krishna is the shelter for all. Verse 38, Krishna is the knower of everything, and he is the end object of all knowledge. He is the chief personality in the transcendental world. He is all-pervading. Krishna is the air because air is pervasive everywhere. Krishna is the supreme controller. Krishna is the great-grandfather because he's Brahma's father. Krishna is the master of all potencies, all prowess, and far superior to all the great warriors in the battlefield. Krishna is the creator of all demigods, and he's everything and all-pervading. Shifali Mataji.
Haribol, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Haribol Dandavat Pranams, everybody. So continuing on with Arjuna's prayers, Arjuna is actually asking for pardon for treating Krishna so informally without realizing Krishna's opulences and Krishna's position as the Supreme Lord, because he was saying that, you know, I've eaten with you, I've joked around with you, and treated you just like my brother, but you know, without always realizing Krishna's position. So he's asking for pardon. And even though Arjuna saw all the opulences of the universal form, still Arjuna didn't entirely like to relate to Krishna in that way. He couldn't really forget his friendly relationship with Krishna because he's a devotee. And then Arjuna continues on, and he's also continuing his prayers and saying that Krishna is the father of the entire cosmic manifestation. He's the chief being in all of the universes and the supreme spiritual master for everyone. And no one is equal or greater than Krishna, or has the same amount of power as Krishna does. Krishna's power is immeasurable. And finally, Arjuna again asks Krishna for forgiveness and for tolerating his impudence and familiar dealings with Krishna in the past. And finally, in the end, Arjuna requests and we can see in 11.45 and 46, we can see that Arjuna requests for Krishna to go back to his four-armed form, because actually he was afraid because he had committed so many offenses to Krishna, and he also is friends with Krishna. He didn't want to see Krishna in the universal form. His mind was very disturbed out of fear. Arjuna also wanted to let us know that sorry, hold on, I can't see so well.
Krishna is the original personality.
All right, he wanted to let us know that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. And he's just this universal form is just a temporary form. And that all the forms, all incarnations, all forms originally originate from Krishna, not from anybody else, just like how it said in the prior presentations from the other group that so for all posterity, he wanted to let everybody know so nobody would be confused by imposters who are claiming to be incarnations of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So I'm going to ask you, I think which group is this?
3.
Group 3. So I'm going to ask Group 3 to probably spend a little bit more time preparing the presentations, because this was fairly superficial, and so this one I'm going to, it's fine, but I think in future I'm going to ask you to at least read Prabhupada's purport, listen to the lectures, and then prepare the presentation, because I think all the devotees, they've already read the verses, so just reading the verses for their benefit is probably not going to add a lot of value.
Sure.
Padminanda, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was just, when Matajis were presenting, I was reflecting on the fact that I was trying to understand Arjuna's moods, right? through the prayers, because so many times, I mean, he's acknowledging the Lord's divinity, but he is so bewildered all the time also with his plan and if he's doing it right. And one of the prayers over there was whatever he does, his plan is befitting. So, is it a right understanding to is it right to understand this, that it is very similar to how we perceive Krishna in our day-to-day lives? Like some days our faith is very strong, some days you start questioning, why am I even chanting 16 rounds, or why am I even doing this? Am I really doing the right thing? Is that the mood? Is that the source of that mood that we have, that Krishna is showing throughout the Bhagavad Gita? Because we see him very confused many times. And I guess my question is, when I feel confused, uh, uh, part of the understanding is, of course, I do not have firm faith and conviction, and that's why I'm confused. But do you, is it okay to say that that confusion we also see in Arjuna, and maybe that's where it's coming from, given to us?
So I agree with the points you have made. I think the only difference I would point out is that Arjun's confusion led him to surrender even more to Krishna. So, so you're right. The confusion comes because of ultimately not understanding one's own position and Krishna's desire. In case of Arjun, it manifested in him taking further shelter of Krishna, and then it matured into Arjun saying that now I'm ready to do as you want me to do. Now, in case of Arjun, that journey took 700 verses. In our cases, maybe it may take a little longer. But yes, I think that mood of that when we're either dealing with our own anarthas, lack of faith, if it drives us to take more shelter of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, so they will guide us, and then if you are able to act upon that, then successively we will come closer. Right? Arjun was a perfected devotee, so he reached to that stage very quickly. But if we follow the same path that he did, then we would also ultimately reach the same destination as Arjun.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Harivamsha?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. I just had a question. With your kind permission, may I ask that? It's regarding 11.15 purport. There, Srila Prabhupada mentions that the snake bed of Lord Garbhodakshai Vishnu is Vasuki, is known as Vasuki. And generally we hear that every time Lord Vishnu lies down, the recliner or the bed is known as Lord Anant Shesh. So I had a confusion regarding this. If you can kindly enlighten.
Okay, so I think that's where the presentation also with this
Yes, Prabhuji.
listening. Yeah, I actually did not. This is not something that came out to me. I'm reading the purport. It says the snake bed is called Vasuki. There are also other snakes known as Vasuki. So perhaps, so as you know, that Ananta Shesh is the elder brother of Vasuki, right? So they're all the descendants of Kashyap and Kadru. So first Ananta Shesh was born, And then he performed austerities and he got this position, and then Vasuki and the other Takshak, etc. were born. At this point, I'm speculating, Prabhu, but the point that Srila Prabhupada makes, that there are other snakes that are also called Vasuki, may lead me to believe that Anant Shesh is also known as Vasuki. But it's something that I will try and do some more research and get back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Okay, we can move to the next group. Two more presentation and we have 12 minutes. So group can start the presentation.
Siva Prabhu, can you do the presentation mode?
Yes.
Okay, power of devotion to experience Krishna's love. Bhakti Shastri 2024, chapter 11, verses 47 to 55. And we are group 2 and we are presenting on this topic. So this is just an overview of chapter 11. And in section 3, there is a prayer by Arjuna after seeing the universal form, which is the verses from 35 to 55. And the verse that we are covering for our topic is from 47 to 55. Next slide, please. So in verse 47, Krishna displays the universal form with full glaring effulgence to Arjuna. And before this, this universal form was not revealed to anyone before. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned in purport that Duryodhana was not fortunate enough to see the full universal effulgence of the universal form and just saw the partial limited form. Like some commentator comments that Duryodhana also was able to see the full universal form, and Srila Prabhupada refutes that. And also, this universal form is only reserved for the devotees of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that because of Arjuna's desire to see the universal form and Krishna fulfilling the desire of his devotee Arjuna, devotees in other planets were able to see the universal form of the Lord. Next slide, please. Now in verse 48, it addresses what's the qualification to see the universal form. It's not by studying Vedas, not by performing charity or sacrifices. It's not by severe penances or performing sacrifice. And it is not even by impersonal meditation. It's only by bhakti. And what about those who claim to be the incarnation of Krishna? So one should humbly ask them to show the universal form or the Virat Rupa and also provide the eyes to see that Virat Rupa. Even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, showed his Virat Rupa on different occasions to different devotees. Next slide, please. So universal form, devotees do not desire to see the universal form because universal form creates a sense of awe and fear, and universal form does not perform loving reciprocation with the devotees. Devotees always aspire to be in one of the rasas, dasya, vatsalya, sakha, madhurya, and with the universal form, there can be no exchange of this loving affairs. So devotees don't aspire to see the universal form. Then why did Arjuna want to see the universal form? That may be the question, and it has already been previously answered by other groups as well. That is to prove Krishna's divinity to the atheistic class of people who may question the future and to set a standard for pseudo-incarnations. Next slide, please. So what does a devotee desire then? That may be the question. So devotee desires to see the two-armed human-like form of Krishna. Now Arjuna also requests to see the four-armed Narayan out of curiosity to know more about Krishna, but he is attracted to the two-armed form of the Lord. Two-armed form of the Lord is the source of both the four-armed form of Krishna and also the universal form of Krishna. Next slide, please. Hare Krishna, did the slide disappear?
Yeah, we cannot see the slides anymore.
Sivarisal Prabhuji, I think he was sharing it. What happened? Okay, verse 51. 51. Yeah. Yes. So Krishna has human-like form. The word Manusam Rupam indicates the Supreme Lord is originally two-handed, and Krishna is the Supreme Lord and has human-like form, but that does not mean he is a human. Humans get their bodily form from Krishna, and Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and so he was able to show his 4M form also. Supreme Lord is not impersonal, but he is the source of the impersonal Brahman, which is his bodily effulgence. Next slide, please. In the verse 52 to 54, 52, 53 talks about how rare is the form of the Lord, the universal form, which is rare that only Arjun could see it, and by his mercy, other devotees on the other planets could see it. And the qualification is mentioned in verse 53 is some bhakti. And two-arm form or the four-arm form of the Lord is very rare. All the great demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva have to wait for a long time and offer Vedic hymns, prayers to eventually see these forms. And the qualification is to perform Suddha Bhakti or Ananya Bhakti, and not by studying Vedas and other activities, and also not by just worshipping or just going to the temple with not a proper mood. Next slide, please. And also, yeah, the last slide, verse 54, there is no other way other than Suddha Bhakti to see this form of the Lord that Krishna reiterates in verse 54. Verse 55. Now this is the essence of all spiritual endeavors that we perform as a devotee. And it talks about Samandagyan, Avideha, and Prayojan. When Krishna uses the word Matparahai, considering me to be the Supreme Lord, that comes in relationship with Krishna. And when he uses Mat Bhakta, Sangha Varjitan, Nivaira Sarva Bhutesu, giving up all envy for all and freed from all uncontaminated associations and devotional service of 9 different types. He's talking about Avideya again. And then when Prayojan, the goal of the relationship is one to attain the Lord Krishna. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, we can say that universal form aspires for awe and reverence, and devotees are generally not attracted to that form. They are attracted to only the Krishna's personal form with 2 hands, 4 hands, and 2 hand is the most is the source of the form hand and the universal form, and is where the Arjun's attraction is. And pure devotees are normally attracted to the 2-armed form, and the so-called incarnation in the future should be rejected if they cannot show the universal form, just like Krishna did. And devotional service or bhakti can only be performed to the personal form of the Lord and not to the universal form. And this concludes our presentation. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Very good. Very comprehensive. Good work.
Group 1.
Hare Krishna. So I would first like to say that this was put together by Shuddha Bhakti Mataji, and since she's attending Guru Maharaj's program, we just decided to read out. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So our topic was chapter 11, verse 33. So the translation of the verse goes, "Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory, conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight."
Bhunkashva means enjoy here. Normally, we say devotees should not enjoy anything material. We are not meant to enjoy, we are meant to serve. What does Bhunkashwa mean here? Sorry.
Yes, that is true. But within the Lord's service, there is enjoyment. So it is not that Krishna wants us to be deprived of all enjoyment. Krishna wanted us to stop depriving of enjoyment. Real enjoyment is in the spiritual world. If we are caught up seeking enjoyment at material level, we cannot relish enjoyment at spiritual level.
Is it like match fixing?
Yes, it is fixing Arjuna's consciousness and our consciousness on devotional service. In this world, whatever Krishna wanted to do, he can do without us also. If Krishna wanted to build a temple, he could build a temple without any of us. If he wanted to spread his message, he could spread without any of us. So, in one sense, we say that the results are fixed by Krishna. But Krishna is not concerned only for results at material level. Krishna is concerned about our transformation.
You can't do it.
Krishna is concerned about our transformation at spiritual level also. Even when Krishna was a small boy in Vrindavan, he was able to kill powerful demons. So he could have effortlessly killed these simple demons like Duryodhana, Shakuni, etc. Krishna allowed his devotees to kill these popular demons. In this way, Krishna wanted Arjuna to be an instrument in his service.
So, if Krishna can only do everything, what is our role?
Arjuna didn't say, okay, Krishna, you can do everything. So you only do. I will just sit and watch. No, that's not how it should be seen. Idea is not to give license but assurance. That Krishna is assuring Arjuna, there is a process and you follow the process and the result will come to you. Therefore, what you should do, Nimitta Matra Bhavya Savya Sachin, just become an instrument. Since our intelligence and capacity is finite, so the result, what can come, is at the best mediocre. So we should become instrument to God's plan. Our ability is used and acknowledged in devotees' circles. The only way we finite beings can perceive the infinite is by the grace of the infinite. And infinite Krishna grants his grace when we strive to love and please him. That means we need to become his instrument, doing his will in a mood of devotional service. When we become Krishna's instrument, he helps us realize that he is the underlying attractive principle in all attractive things. Verse 10.41. Being energized by that realization, we direct our love to him, thereby perceiving him more and relishing him forever.
Are things happen by chance or per Krishna's plan?
It is not that things are happening by chance. Everything is happening as per a perfect plan. Only our plan should be aligned to that.
Now, the challenge is how to know what is God's plan.
There are broad aspects of Krishna's plan, and if we take care of broad aspect, then specific aspects can be taken care by the Lord. When it is clear how to serve Krishna that time, we should serve him. And when it is not clear that time, Krishna will give us guidance on how to serve him.
Then how to perceive this in Krishna consciousness?
Sometimes Krishna gives us failure so he can later give us greater victory. Sometimes devotees face problems again and again, but that may be specific treatment for him from Krishna so that they take deeper shelter and by that return to him. Example, we see that Jatayu failed, but he had lost battle against Ravana, but won battle against Maya. In our Krishna consciousness, sometimes we may lose the fight against Maya, but we should not lose the fighting spirit against Maya, and we should continue there. And we should continue. There is always a possibility, no matter what happens. Krishna always wants to empower the devotee unlimitedly.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you for presenting the presentation prepared by her, and did an excellent job. Hare Krishna. Okay, over to you, Rupa Raghunath Prabhu.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. We are 2 minutes over, but I think I'll take 1 more minute to describe the cadence for the upcoming classes, and then we can call it a day. So I'm going to share my screen briefly, and we can talk about it. I hope my screen is visible. So as Prabhuji had mentioned in the last class, the upcoming chapters are going to be little short, more philosophy, but the number of verses are like 20 plus. So we'll go a little faster in our classes. So instead of doing 2 classes for each chapter, what we will do is we will split them such that in one class itself, Prabhuji will do 30 minutes his overview presentation, and then there will be a Q&A. And in the subsequent class, for the first 30 minutes, because the chapters are small, we will only have 3 topics and 3 groups will present those. And we will repeat this cadence. So that ways our one chapter is going to be now 90 minutes instead of 120 minutes, which is equal to 2 classes. So so this is how we will go. Just wanted to share this cadence. I'll also put it on the group. For each chapter, I think 3 groups will present, and for the next chapter, the remaining 3 groups will present. This also means that our modules will get finished a little faster. So for example, module 3, chapter 18 is the only exception. So it will get finished in 9 to 10 weeks instead of 12. So you need to time your exam preparation accordingly. So just wanted to share this. If there are any questions, we can discuss. Or Prabhuji, if you have anything to add, please add.
Yeah, just because from the 12th chapter onwards, all the chapters are small chapters. They're in the 20s, with the exception of 18, which is 78 verses. All of them are 20, 27. 12th chapter is 20 verses. 13th chapter is 35. 14 is 24. So they're all small chapters. So not, I mean, of course, you can speak as much as you want, but just trying to make up also some time. So we will articulate it in this way. So so every group will have to prepare for a presentation in 2 weeks' time. And this will also allow more time to prepare for the exam, because as Prabhu mentioned, our module will get closed in 9 to 10 weeks. So because there are fewer group presentations, we can also use the time to prepare for the exam.
Yes.
Vijaya, you had a question?
You're on mute, Mataji. Vijaya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, sorry about that. I had a question about 27th, because it's the day before Thanksgiving Day. So I was just wondering whether we'll have class or no class. Hare Krishna.
Okay, we can check on it, Vijaya. We can do a poll and see how many devotees are planning to attend and how many are traveling. If you don't have sufficient attendance, then we can skip that day.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Sure. I'm guessing Chaitanya Ras, you had the same questions. I see your hand has gone down.
Yes, Prabhu. Same question.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, thank you.
I have a question, Prabhu. So from the timetable, it looks like the presentations are going to be 10 minutes long. Is
So
that the
Yali
intent?
Mataji, we will keep the presentation time to 5 minutes each, but as you saw today, we are doing some Q&A also, and Prabhuji provides feedback. So typically it takes 30 minutes to finish 3 presentation, and we wanted to.
So it will be interspersed with Q&A also.
Yes. So your presentation will be 5 minutes, Mataji.
Okay.
Thanks for the question.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will end over here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaः. Anant Koti Vaishnavind ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.